So we talked about doing about, I don't know, about 5 of them. So we've done one already. So in that one I gave sort of a basic overview of the structure of nonprofits. And if you want to know more about that, we can talk about it afterwards. But basically I talked about sort of how different nonprofits are set up, how they're funded, sort of the different ways that they function because of those structures that exist. And so kind of just, it was sort of an opening overview of the nonprofit world just in general. So what I wanted to talk about a little bit more today in depth was, this particular event in the series was called How Women in Gender Studies and Internships Can Give You Skills to Begin Your Career Path. So I wanted to talk a little bit more in depth about internships and sort of what you can expect with internships and sort of some of the pitfalls that can happen during internships and how to sort of prepare yourself for that a little bit more. And then touch a little bit on some of the things that you might want to think about before you go in for an interview, those kinds of things. So basically, my path was that I started doing internships in undergrad, and I did one internship in my before my senior year with the NARAL, which is the national. Well, now they're just called NARAL, but before they used to be the National Abortion and Reproductive Rights Action League. And so that was my first internship that actually had to do with women's issues and your resume. Like my mom is a speech pathologist, and so when I was getting out of college, she was working actually here in Fairfax County. She worked at Fairfax High School right down the road. But she had hired speech clinicians throughout her profession, and also she worked at like nursing homes and hospitals. She's hired a lot of people for a lot of years, so I loved having her look at my resume because she would be like, no, you need to really flesh out the skills, that you have here, no matter what it is, whether it was customer service, selling shoes at Macy's, or whatever it is that you've done. There are a lot of skills that go into any job that you have, and those are it's really good to talk to someone else about them, because I think for even me, like there are times when people will be like, no, you really should go do this, and I'll be like, but I can't do that, I'm like not qualified for that or whatever, and they'll be like, why? Like you've done this, this, and this, that qualifies you, and I'm like, it does? Really? Like, are you sure? And they're like, yeah, I'd love to see that, that you did this and you have that on your resume. So, there are times when I think it's easy for you not to see your own qualifications for things because you think, well, I haven't done exactly that. But a lot of the time it's not about that. And we were talking last time in the workshop that it's about transferable skills. Mm-hmm. It's about the skills that you gain that can be put into other types of jobs. So that's definitely for resumes, I think it is really important. So what to expect from an internship. So if you haven't ever had an internship before, some of the things that you want to look for and that you can expect are, first of all, projects. You want an internship where they want someone who has done projects. I know a lot of internships now really include a lot of social media and and that's a great skill to have, don't get me wrong, but anyone can post things on Facebook. That's not the only thing you want to walk away from with your internship. I mean, don't get me wrong, like I love Facebook and it's very important to my job. Like it's important, Twitter is important to my job. I have an intern who does Twitter for me. That's great, but that's not the only, unless you want to be a social media director someday, like unless that's your, it's wheelhouse, stupid jobby word to use, but unless that's like your goal in life is to be a social media director, which is awesome, that's great if you want to do that. Social media is something that a lot of the time nonprofits are kind of hoisting onto interns right now that really shouldn't be the only skills that you walk away with. So that's really important.
Hired an intern, don't know how to do Facebook and Twitter, so they think younger people can do that.
Some of it is that. I'm sure you know about this from the consulting work that you've done, communications. Some of it is that. Some of it is just that people don't have time to do it.
I was going to say.
And they assume that interns can do it, which they can. I mean, most of the time that's not, out of the range of skills. And because a lot of younger people do Facebook and Twitter in their everyday life, it's sort of assumed that it's not a big deal for young people to do those things. which again, it's a great thing to do in an internship, to have as part of an internship, but that's not the only thing you want to walk away from an internship with on your resume.
Well, and just something also, I've seen in organizations that we worked with that it hasn't necessarily been included in the job description or in someone's job description from the beginning, and so adding it, instead of adding it to what they do on a daily basis and saying I don't have time, they're just going to push it off. Exactly.
Yeah, so you want to be careful that you don't end up like, oh, but we need you to do this, and oh, you need to do that again, and you need to post this to Facebook again, and post that to Twitter, and then all of a sudden your, 5 hours that you spent there that day have all been spent on social media. So, you want to be careful of that and make sure that you speak, and then